Welcome back to the Trading Alchemist. It is June 23rd, 2026. It's about 10 a.m. Eastern Time. It's Tuesday, everyone. All right, well, the charts is doing some pretty crazy stuff, so let's jump in, right? Last we left off, we were over in this section right over here. Okay? And one of the things that I was saying is that it could possibly bounce up, and I was going to wait to see exactly what was happening. And if it started to see some kind of resistance, I would take a short, and I did. I took a short over in this area. But before we get closer and zoom in here, what I wanted to do was go over this line right over here. Now, this trend line right here, let me just drop that closer here. Sometimes my lines move when I get off the scene here. This trend line is from the start. This was the change of direction. This was actually the start of the bear market. And this was our peak. So we started going down here, and notice that we rejected off of it. Notice over here we rejected off of it, but we did come out, we tested, we did this fake out, and we came back in, and we are now below that trend line. So one of the things I wanted to do was, usually if you find a trend line that has, you know, a certain angle to it, you can then copy it and move it down to find where the channel might be. So here, this looks about right. So if you look, we've got a rejection right over here. That makes sense. There's a rejection over here. And this is a fake out right over here. Okay. And this is a fake out on both sides, right? But if you notice, we came back into the channel. We touched, we rejected, or we found some support over here. And yeah, we went up to the other side, right? So now we are back in there. So let's just kind of cut this out for a second. Let's take a look at this. Let's cut this section out right over here, and let's cut this section out right over here. And you can see that we are kind of like paying attention to what's inside of the channel. We can cut this out as well because this was manipulation as well. So I'm going to cut that out right there. But you can see that there is a lot more, there are a lot more points that are tapping, making this valid of an area, okay? And again, over here, you can see them. They are valid right from the top. So now, if we're looking at this, if we are inside of the channel, it could be possible that we come down over here to this other side and have some kind of reaction, right? So that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at that as being significant. So this line might have some significance that we can use. I'm going to make this line lower and pull that out like that. Also, let me check something else too. Let me pull this out and let's see if we've got any kind of, oh yeah, look at that. Let's take this and let's stretch this over here. Interesting. Okay, so I see it. So let's take a look at this. I'm just doodling away here. Let's get this rectangle here. I will pull this out like so. Highlight that right there. Just like so, just like that. Just like that. Look at that. That looks like the middle. Interesting. So again, if this is the middle, right? Let's just knock that down color-wise here. If this is the middle, as if it was like mud, yeah, I mean, I'm looking for it to really touch this part over here. If you saw the last video, that's exactly what I'm looking for. I'm looking for it to kind of take out some of the stuff that's going on to the left here, but especially tap this range low I was saying before. But if it comes down here, it could get stuck right in this area, just like this. You see how like it kind of like it's kind of a sticking point. So yeah, anyway, that's pretty neat. What I'll do is I'm going to leave this, I'll leave these lines on here just in case. Actually, let me knock them down a bit. So now you can actually see how I found some of these lines. But usually what happens is when you find an actual, you know, a trend line, the angle that it's working at actually works for the rest of the channel. Like if you find the correct angle, then you can duplicate it and actually find the other parts as well. So let me just let me change these lines colors here. Let me dim them down. I got too many lines on the chart as it is, but they're all valid. Something to look at. Okay, so yeah, if you look to the left of the chart, you can actually see what I'm talking about. This is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for this. I'm looking for this. I'm looking to come back over here and kind of dance in here. So again, that's what I talked about in the last video. And yeah, it's going that route. If it comes up here, like what are we going to do? Well, we've got some kind of trend line that's going. We've got this order block right over here. Here is, oh, can I undo that? Yeah. I drew a line right over here. This is the top of the range. This is the bottom of the range. So if we do bounce back up, then I would be looking for it to come back to the top of the range. That's what I'm looking for, right? And if it does come back to the top of the range, I'm going to decide, you know, should I short at that point or what? Like, so I did short in this area. I shorted right over here. And I believe I've got like, I took profit at 20%. I also shorted Ethereum, which I did like a delay. So basically what I did was I shorted Bitcoin first, waited to see if I was going underwater, which I did. I went underwater first. And as I was going underwater, Ethereum was taking off and it was going a lot higher. But looking at the ETH dominance that was there and the Bitcoin dominance, I felt as though if Bitcoin dominance does turn around, then Ethereum would drop a lot harder. So I actually did get Ethereum. I got a short over here and I've taken 50% profit at this point. But again, I'm following the same kind of rules that I had in the last one, where I was waiting and looking for it to come down because I thought that this would be hit again, which it did. It got hit again. But if you notice, it looks like we're weak at this point, right? So let me move this up instead of being at the bottom of the thing here. I am looking for it to kind of like surpass this now, okay? Because Bitcoin has, I feel like it's got a little bit ways to go. And if the dominance is more on Bitcoin's side, then Ethereum will be hit a little bit harder, but we'll see. I mean, we could have a bounce up from here. I'm not really sure. But what I am noticing is that, the S&P 500 really is driving, this downturn. Last night, in the middle of the night, I guess Asia had some issues with their stock market. They had like one of the biggest crashes they've had in such a long time. So I believe it affected the S&P 500. It dropped quite a bit, and that was the catalyst for crypto to kind of follow at this point, right? So if this does fill in, could we get a little bit of a bounce on crypto? Yeah, possibly. Right now, it does feel like the stock market has dominance over crypto. So the more down it goes, the harder it feels like crypto's going. And the more up that the market goes, it feels like we're just inching our way up. But again, we're talking about we're being in the bear season. We're in a bear market, right? So anyway, so that's that. What I did want to look at as well and share with you was this SpaceX chart right over here. One of the things that I was saying was that, yeah, we're going to kind of like drop, like this is not the bottom of the SpaceX chart. And you can see we've got a wick that kind of proves that at this point. Now, again, one thing that I noticed is that anytime these IPOs and these new stocks come out, there is a pattern to them. And I will show you what I think is going to be kind of a symmetrical setup for SpaceX. Let me see here. See if I can find it. Here we go. So this is bullish right here. Bullish came out, kind of same kind of scenario. And yeah, I mean, it's not SpaceX per se, but it's a new chart. And it's actually matured. It came out in, what is that? So it came out in September of last year, I believe. And yeah, I mean, like, look, this was not the bottom, right? This was not the bottom right there. So it came out, it did its thing. There was hype behind it. And then, yeah, like these people who bought up here got trapped. And again, like, people taking their profit, right? Because there are people who bought over here somewhere. So this feels like the anatomy of a new chart. And if you're getting into SpaceX, this is kind of what I anticipate. Now, looking at bullish, though, on the other hand, bullish has already surpassed this area of the dip. And this is starting to feel more like a buying area or opportunity. So bullish is actually starting to look like a chart that I'm considering getting into. So I wanted to show you that. The other thing I wanted to show you was, you know, a follow-up to, you know, this AMC. AMC has taken a pretty hardcore dip. I mean, a 26%er. And, you know, in the last video, I was saying that, you know, if you are going to buy in now, I feel like it's going to drop. And, you know, I don't expect it to drop hard like this, but I do expect it to drop. I am looking at this area, these two areas in particular, to kind of get into for a rinse and repeat. I don't know if it's going to happen now, but, you know, I'm going to be patient with this at this point. So I am 100%, like I said in the last video, I'm out of AMC. I'm waiting for my rinse and repeat opportunity. And again, you see exactly where I'm looking for that. As far as everything else goes, I mean, yeah, everything's feeling kind of weak right now. So I would be careful what you're doing. I would definitely pay attention to, you know, the Bitcoin chart. I do feel like if we do come down here, even for a minute, like a quick down, black swan event, whatever, however long it takes to get down there. I mean, now you could see there is this trend line that is coming down over here, right? And especially this trend line over here. I mean, we could tap this target that's been on the chart for a while. And if we do, I don't know if we're going to hang out there long. I'm not sure. But yeah, things are starting to get compressed at this point, and the fear level is growing. So be careful what you do. All right, guys, if you have any questions, feel free to drop a comment down below. And, you know, to help this channel out, you know, consider liking and subscribing or sharing this content. You know, I would like to build a bigger community if possible, people that you guys can talk to as well and kind of like grow together with. So anyway, all right, guys, talk to you soon. Peace out.